going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream today. They're calling it dot-along therapy, people, after the dot-along last night, Arsenal against Brighton, where we couldn't find the game, although we did find a little source, but the camera quality wasn't the best, and we ended up doing a dot-along. Oh, people saying the audio's gone crazy. What's going on? What's going on with the audio, people? Give me a sec, I'll go out and come back in. Apologies, people.
Right, people, is that any better? Let me know. I don't know why the audio's gone so high. I've destroyed it. Let me know in the comments if that's better or is that still too loud. I was on the wrong microphone. Just let me know in the comments. Are we back? I've woke you all up apparently. I don't know what happened there. It switched microphones. Good but low now. Okay, hopefully a bit better. Are we better now? Roger says we're better, much better. All right, apologies, people. We'll try again. We're back again, people, and Lubo said his eyes bled yesterday, his ears today. Apologies, it switched me to the laptop microphone for some reason. Yasin said, cheers, Curtis, my newborn daughter is wide awake. Apologies. You know what? I thought I'd wake her up. Now, the England squad is about to be announced. In fact, it's just been announced, people. The England squad has just been announced, and I'm going to share it with you before we talk about that horrendous game of football that we didn't watch last night. So I'm going to bring up the England squad and we're going to break it down, and I want your feedback on the squad. Now, you've seen on social media a lot of the squad has been leaked anyway. But let me just go through this England squad. So here we are. This is the official England squad for the 2022 World Cup, people. Let's go through it. In goal, Pickford, Pope, and Arsenal's very own Aaron Ramsdale. No surprises in goal. Some people said Henderson, the Forest keeper on loan, may have got in ahead of Pope, but hasn't happened. The defenders, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Connor Cody, Eric Dyer, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker, and Benny Blanco himself, Ben White. Congratulations, let's go. Yes, big respect to Ben White for making the squad. Absolutely shocked, by the way, that he's decided to go to a World Cup with one left back. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. If Luke Shaw gets injured, who's playing left back? Kieran Trippier out of position, or he'll probably put Saka at left back. So for me, Connor Cody, Eric Dyer, Harry Maguire. I mean, wow. Connor Cody in a relegation scrap at Everton. Dyer has been dire in the last few games, and Maguire can't get a kick. So with Cody, Dyer, Maguire, Stones, and Ben White, and the fact Kyle Walker can play centre-back in a 3, you've potentially taken 6 centre-backs, but you've only taken 1 natural left-back. That makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. And you've taken Trent, Trippier, and Walker, and Ben White. So in effect, you've almost got 4 right-backs, but only 1 left-back. That makes no sense to me. It could be back 3 settings, I would say. Somehow, it will try and get Harry Maguire in that squad, in that team. Let's go into midfield. Jude Bellingham. Conor Gallagher, and I'm not making that sort of Conor Gallagher sound because I don't rate him. I'm genuinely surprised he's going to this tournament. Hasn't really started that much for Chelsea. And I didn't see that one coming, to be honest. I think he's slightly fortunate to be in that squad. I actually think he's a good player. And the problem is, who else do you take, I suppose, if you're not taking him? Jude Bellingham, has to go. Gallagher, bit of a wild card. Henderson for the experience. Mason Mount was always going to go. Calvin Phillips been injured for, 3 months? Hasn't kicked a ball. Makes the squad. I think if you're Ward-Prowse, you'd be pretty fuming with that. No Ruben Soft Cheese. Yeah, he doesn't make it. So Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. Declan Rice, you know, they love him. He was always going to make it. Phil Foden, of course. Jack Grealish. I saw a stat yesterday. Jack Grealish has 1 goal in 16 games for Manchester City. I mean, I know Arsenal are top of the league, but let's be honest. Manchester City are the best team in this country. You're a £100 million left winger playing for the most creative, best team in the country. You got 1 goal and no assists in 16 games. I mean, Jesus, that is wild from Grealish, how he gets away with that as well. Harry Kane, of course. James Maddison, for me, that is a pick that I am delighted with, because I think he's created the most chances out of any English player. I think he's a brilliant player. I think Arsenal should have signed him when we had an opportunity. And he totally deserves to go to that squad. I don't care. There was no way you can leave him out. So I'm delighted for Maddison. His stock will go up as well. Marcus Rashford makes the squad. I would have took Rashford. You know I'm a big fan of Rashford. Bukayo Saka, big up yourself. Arsenal's very own. Raheem Sterling, not in great form for Chelsea, but has been... He was England's best player at the Euros in attack. And Callum Wilson goes to the World Cup. Callum Wilson, I mean, listen... He's probably the most informed English striker at the moment, if we're being totally honest, along with Kane. 6 goals, 2 assists in 10 games. 30 years of age. I mean, I think he would have, a month, 6 weeks ago, you would have said no chance. But he's managed to make it now. Just looking at that, I mean, I know he's in great form, but then... Ivan Toney has got 8 goals and 2 assists. Wilson's got 6 goals, 2 assists. I don't know. I know Ivan Toney scored more penalties. I'm personally happy with Callum Wilson. Looking at the players that haven't gone, just some of the bigger names, you know, we're looking at Jadon Sancho, £72 million signing for Manchester United. Doesn't make the World Cup. If he was still at Dortmund, I'm pretty sure he would have been in that squad. Ivan Toney, just do yourself a favour now, my bro. It's Reggae Boys season, man. Get yourself on a flight, Kingston, Jamaica, Norman Manley Airport, and go and represent the Reggae Boys for the next World Cup. This England thing, it ain't happening for you, bro. I'm going to keep it 100. There's not a lot more Ivan Toney can do. You ain't touching that England shirt. Go and play for Jamaica now, man, and try and get them to the next World Cup 2026. No Tomori. I mean, listen, Tomori for me again. He won Serie A last season for AC Milan. He plays for one of the biggest, most historic clubs in probably world football, if we're being honest, AC Milan. He's just been in the Champions League and you're picking Connor Cody ahead of him. I mean, please, man, please. Let's be serious. No Ivan Toney, Joe Gomez, James Ward-Prowse, Jadon Sancho, Ivan Toney, Tammy Abraham. Yeah, Toney needs a bigger move. He does. I think the fact that Callum Wilson's in the top 4 with Newcastle as what has propelled him ahead of Ivan Toney. Without being disrespectful, Ivan Toney plays for an unfashionable Premier League club. You know, nobody cares about Brentford apart from Brentford fans. And that's just me keeping it 100. You know how the Premier League works, man. You play for one of the top 6, big 6 clubs. You're likely to go. Even Joe Gomez. I mean, Gomez has made a couple of bad mistakes. I would still say he's better than Connor Cody. I know somebody who works within the England camp. And he said to me that Connor Cody is a big, big leader in the dressing room, along with Henderson and Harry Kane. You know, he specifically said those 3 are 3 of the biggest leaders in the dressing room. But for me, Connor Cody, wouldn't have took him. Dyer and Maguire. I mean, we don't have great options at centre-back, but Gomez is at Liverpool and has had some good games, has had some bad games. And Tomori's a Serie A winner. So, for me, listen, there's enough quality in that squad to compete. Do I think England will win the World Cup? I doubt it very much. Simply because I don't think this manager will pick the right team anyway. It's got 3 at the back written all over it. He'll squeeze Maguire in there. He'll put, he'll play with wing backs. He'll have. I don't see it happening. For me, I would play probably 4-3-3. Get Kane up there. Get 2 wingers either side of him. Maybe go Saka, Sterling, Rashford. I don't know. Get Foden in the pocket or Mount. Bellingham in midfield, probably with Rice or Henderson. Play a back 4, but don't see it coming home. I've seen the Brazil squad. It's a cheat code. And who the hell goes to a World Cup with 1 left back? Makes absolutely no sense. But there you go. It is what it is. Lewis Dunk is better than Cody. I agree with that. Left back is Luke Shaw, and Luke Shaw is injury prone, by the way. So if he gets injured, who's at left back? Trippier, not his natural position. So there we go. Let's skip that. But listen, congratulations to our Arsenal players, Ben White and Aaron Ramsdale, and also Bukayo Saka. It's always nice to have some England Arsenal players, go into the tournament. A bit of prestige, but listen, let's hope they don't get injured, and let's hope they all come back fit and rearing to go, people. So, just quickly, let me read your comments. What's your thoughts on the England squad? No Abraham or Tomori is crazy. I'm taking Tomori over Dyer and Tammy over one of the attackers. Phillips has played 15 minutes all season. That's Pep Guardiola tax, my friend. That's what you call Pep. Do you think if he was at Leeds United, he's nowhere near that squad? Abhinav Dan Burn could have gone, play centre-back and left-back. I mean, listen, I called him, what did I call him? A sloth or something when Saka was running past him. Listen, man, he's had a decent start at Newcastle, but I don't want Dan Burn anywhere near an England squad. I can't lie, people. Saka and Foden. Saka probably end up playing left-back. Ad said, can't wait to see England get cooked. I think they'll get out of the group, but I don't see him getting anywhere near winning it. I think Gallagher's fortunate. England don't have a lot of quality in midfield. So he's got in. Ben White goes. Great news for Ben White. It'll give him a massive boost to his confidence as well. White and Maddison both in form. Southgate won't play them. He won't. I don't think Ben White will start for England. Maguire and Dyer will probably play ahead of it. Stones will obviously start. Stones and Maguire. Tomori's better than Diarrhea, agree. Gabriel didn't make the Brazil squad, but our other 2 Gabbies made the Brazil squad. So, yeah, interesting England squad, that is for sure. Anyway, let's forget about them. Let's concentrate on the big boys. Arsenal, I've turned up with the Alexis Sanchez background. I know what you're thinking. He's a snake. He went to Man United. I still don't forget the good times. One of the best players I've ever seen play for Arsenal. So every now and then he pops up on the green screen, people. And I needed to remind myself of better Arsenal times and performances, because after last night, I was going to say after watching last night's game, but I'm quite lucky, I think, that we didn't have to watch last night's game, because it was what you call shambolic, people. Now, what I'm trying to figure out from the community, and we're going to briefly review the game. No player ratings, because we didn't see the game. I saw the extended highlights and I've seen the stats. And a few people have sent me the player ratings who went to the game. I actually saw Robbie's player ratings, and big up Robbie each and every time. I think he thinks we won the game 3-1, because I heard 7s, 6s. I think there was an 8 in there. I thought we'd won the game. If you concede 3 goals, your back 4 have probably had a poor performance. I looked at one of them goals, just a simple through ball through the middle of a defence and split us apart. So, yeah, I thought we were poor from what I saw, to be honest. Another elite dot along. Yeah, man, we did what we had to do, man. Hopefully that'll be the only game for the rest of the season where we have to do that. I've got a link to watch it now if you want. You know what? You can keep that link. I don't want nothing to do with that game. Arteta's duty-free tax, 9 of the starting 11 go into the World Cup. Is that right? So, yeah, that's a good point. You know what? We'll look at that shortly, actually. We will look at that shortly. Let's just quickly go through the game. We'll look at the team. I'm not really going to go into detail because the game was a stinkfest, let's be honest. The stats, 22 shots, 4 shots on target. That tells you about our shooting ability. 57% possession, 2 yellow cards. They had 13, 4 on target, 3 goals. The lineup, The lineup said to me, if I'm being totally honest, that I don't think Mikel Arteta cares about that competition that much. However, it's a tricky one. I'm gonna ask you what you thought of this. Hein was in goal. We gave him his debut. Gives away a penalty. Let's not destroy him. Let's not write him off. But he'll be he'll be in his house this morning, very disappointed. He'll be thinking that's my debut for Arsenal. Gives away a needless penalty. Doesn't save the penalty, and concedes 3 goals. Couldn't have gone much worse for him, really. Not going to write him off, but, it is what it is. Cedric, Saliba, Holding, Tierney. Last 2 games, Saliba and Holding have played together. We've conceded 5 goals. 2 against PSV. We got smoked. And this one, them 2. This is one thing I will say, where I think you've got to give a little bit of credit to Gabriel, is that I think Saliba benefits from having a more aggressive partner next to him, in the sense of Gabriel goes and win the headers and has a little bit more of a battle with the striker, where Holding is a little bit more tentative as well. A lot of people who messaged me said Saliba was very good, but ultimately we conceded 3 goals. 9 of our first 11 heading out to the World Cup, said Babatunde. Big up, bro. Zach said, Curtis, I was at the game. Saliba was excellent. A lot of people messaged me saying Saliba was our best player. Holding, don't think he's done himself any favours. I've said many times before, he's only at the club because he's a happy-go-lucky fellow. He's happy to be there. He don't care if he comes on for 5 minutes at the end of a game. He's not Arsenal quality. I realise you can't have 25 players in your squad who are all top class. Some of them are going to be a level below, but Holding is not an Arsenal player, and he hasn't been for a long period of time, in my opinion. He wouldn't get in that Brighton team. He'd be near the bottom of the Premier League, in my opinion. Kieran Tierney came off. El Neni got booked. Sambi Lokonga, from what I heard, was unimpressive again. Not going to talk too much about individual performances because I didn't see the full game. Just saw the extended highlights. Marquinhos, from what I heard, not bad second half. First half was missing. Vieira apparently was one of our worst players yesterday, which is really disappointing. Again, I know people, we were talking about on the stream yesterday, people were saying 35 million is not that much in the modern game. But for 35 million, I expect to see something. This guy's struggling. People saying he needs to get bigger. I don't even necessarily know if it's so much about... Listen, I think he does need to get a little bit bigger, but there are a lot of lightweight players that have played in the Premier League that have been exceptional footballers. Small, lightweight. David Silva was not overly strong. He had unbelievable balance and intelligence. He knew how to get between the lines. He was very difficult to mark. So it's not all about his physical presence. I just think he's really struggling to adjust to English football. And how long is that going to take? Was he a necessary signing at that time, for £35 million? We needed a centre midfielder. We need another striker. We need a right winger. I'm not writing him off, but we've seen, like I said, we've seen many lightweight players playing that 10 role. Ozil, Mata, Bernardo Silva, David Silva, Cazorla. Very intelligent footballers who are very hard to lean on because of their movement. Chris said, a friend of mine was at the game, said Vieira was absolutely shocking. Couldn't do the basics. I see a player in there, but he's starting to concern me, and I'm the same. I don't mind if he was struggling in games, but we're seeing moments of brilliance where you go, wow, like that is impressive. I saw that in one Europa League game. The rest of the time, he's been stinky, people. He's stunk out the place. So, let's see. I'm concerned with him. I'm concerned. 35 million. Arsenal can't just throw 35 millions around. We're not Man City. We need to move in January, Jay Mystery, 100%. I'm going to talk transfers later on. Reece Nelson. Most people said after Saliba, for anyone who was at the game, let me know. Most people said after Saliba, he was our best player. Sets up Eddie's goal, was lively. Apparently, second half went downhill a little bit. People questioning Lamptey's goal, saying he didn't track his runner as well, which is disappointing for him. Sidon said 35 million could have got you Tielemans, 100%. Eddie took his goal well, really well. Thierry Henry-esque finish. From the left-hand side, bends it in the far corner. He's an elite striker when the game's not on TV, is what people are saying. But apparently second half he faded, and but apparently he wasn't too bad. So I'm not going to go, big up Safra. I'm not going to go in on him too much. Scored a good goal, and that's it really. Still kind of are where we are with him. The cavalry got thrown on late in the game, made no difference. Faz, Brentford game stinky. No, he was good in that game. Moment of brilliance. The other game was the home game in the Europa League. Was it Zurich or Boda? One of those two, he had a really good game. Apart from that, I've hardly seen anything from him. So Faz, I hear you on that. And listen, the one thing that I keep reiterating with Fabio Vieira, Brentford was one of his best games for Arsenal. That was with what I would call the first team. Maybe he's struggling because he's in a poor team. He's playing in a poor team in the Europa League and the Carabao Cup. Some players, I believe, need to play in better teams and have better players around them who are on the same wavelength. You look at the midfield. If you're playing in the 10 role and El Neni and Lokonga are behind you, they're probably not going to get the ball to you very quickly. If it's Partey and Xhaka, they will probably get the ball quicker. Again, he looks up, he sees Eddie, Marquinhos and Nelson. Not easy to create for those guys. Going to be a lot easier to create for Martinelli, Saka and Jesus. So maybe Fabio Vieira needs to play in the first team. But the problem is, he's not going to displace Odegaard, who is the captain, if he's not performing, unless Odegaard gets injured or suspended. So that's my defence. I don't want anybody to think I'm writing off Fabio Vieira. I think he is talented, but I think he's struggling at the moment. So we'll have to see. Player rating's done. Manager, I give the manager a 5. I think he wrote this competition off. Or was he arrogant to believe that, Brighton were going to make changes and this squad was good enough? I don't know. Arteta gets a 5. The team wasn't good enough. He brought the cavalry on too late. I think the sub should have been made earlier. Arteta gets a 5 for me. I think he got it horribly wrong. And yeah, he picked a team. Again, I know it's easy to say after the event. I don't even know if Hines should have been in goal. I think Matt Turner should have got that game as well. It is what it is. We are where we are. We're out of the Carabao Cup. Now, I want to talk about the Carabao Cup. Before we move on and look ahead, I want to know your thoughts on the Carabao Cup. I put a poll up yesterday at the end of the live stream. And I was kind of asking, is this a blessing in disguise for Arsenal? Because our squad is so thin, our backup players are lacking quality at the moment. Is it a situation where you think, you know what, it's the weakest of all 4 competitions. We can't afford too many games in case we get injured and tired and suspended. And I don't really mind us going out of that competition. Or are you looking at it saying, listen, there's only 4 competitions that we're in. The Premier League is very, very difficult to win. Europa League's going to be tricky with the teams that have dropped down. Carabao Cup is the easiest competition to win. Tottenham were out last night. Arsenal have obviously gone out. Everton went out. Brentford went out. A number of Premier League teams have been knocked out of the competition over the past couple of days. I mean, who else went out yesterday? West Ham went out. Leeds went out. Chelsea, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Everton. Man United play Villa tonight. This would have been the easiest competition to win. So what is your sort of feeling on us going out of this competition? Torba said a trophy is a trophy. I hear you. Why always me? We're in a situation that we need to scrap one competition. If it was the FA Cup, it would be a different story. 12330 said I never rated it. Oz said with a congested season and a World Cup in between, considering our current league position in Europe, I think this is a blessing in disguise. MD said it's a Tin Pot Cup, never rated it. Sidant said Leicester Carabao Cup champions 2023. Big C, would you rather win the Carabao Cup, FA Cup and Europa League or just the Prem? Just the Prem for me all day long. Top 4 over the Energy Drink Cup. Listen, you know me, people. I'm shameless. I say this. I don't hide from it. I'm a shameless Arsenal fan. If we would have won last night, I'd be sitting here saying, you know what? I want us to win this competition. Tottenham are out. This team are out. You know, we're already in the last 16. Let's win it. However, it's not worth having a meltdown for us going out, is what I would say. I don't think we should be happy that we're out of a competition, because how many times have we seen Manchester City win this trophy in, I think, the finals in March, and it kind of spearheads the last couple of months of your season. I would have loved to have gone to Wembley I love going to Wembley to watch Arsenal. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm pleased that we've gone out. However, clutching at straws and trying to be positive, I think now we're out of the competition, forget about it. Forget it. We got bigger fish to fry, ultimately. If we'd finished outside the top four and won the Carabao Cup, I would still be saying that this season was a disaster. We have to get in the Champions League. I want us to be in the top four. I want us to compete for the Europa League. I'd love us to win the FA Cup. It's a tournament that we have a great connection with. So for me, we're out of it. I'm disappointed. I don't like losing. I definitely don't like teams coming to our home ground and beating us. But I'm over it. I'm over it. And I'm going to look ahead. And do you know what? I hope, if there's one positive that comes out of losing that game, I hope it's a wake-up call. I hope Mikel Arteta's on the phone to Josh Kroenke this morning, or Stan, or Vinay, or Edu, or whoever, and he's saying, bro, you know what? Season's going great. We've won the Europa League group. We're through. We're top of the Prem. But if you don't sort that squad out and bring transfers in, this season can go pear-shaped if we're not careful. We need Emile Smith-Rowe back, and we need at least 2 signings in January, in my opinion. At least 2 signings. Milo, my bro, I mean, that's borderline a 3-minute timeout, right? That question. I love Saka. He's one of our best young players. For people listening who are not seeing the question, Milo is asking, is Saka better than prime Alexis Sanchez? I mean, bro, relax. That's what I would say. It's Thursday. We're not at the weekend yet. Just go and wash your face with some cold water. Milo, yeah, you're right, people. I'll see you in 3 minutes. Give it 3 minutes. Go and wash your face. Just cold water. Splash your face with cold water and consider your actions. And then, we'll bring it back. The community voted. I was tempted to let it slide, but we'll see you in 3 minutes. They don't call him Alexis Sanchez baby for nothing. Anyway, I said lay off the 420. Let's look ahead. The game's done. It is what it is. The one thing that worries me about that performance last night was that Brighton made 8 changes. So they didn't turn up, they didn't have Trossard. They left a lot of people out. And they turned us over. Danny Welbeck FC, rolling our defence and winning penalties and stuff. So let's hear what Mikel Arteta had to say. I've heard nothing from this press conference. I don't know who he's pointing at there, but it definitely didn't work. So let's hear what he had to say, and if he plays it down or waffles his way out of it. Just a bit of light waffle, people, on this Thursday afternoon. Yasser said, Curtis, my kids love you. Could you shout them out? Big up Yasser's mutes, man. Big up, bro. Prime Sanchez was out. Eden Hazard increased the timeout. Man is still in a dream. Alexis was special. I've had the debate. For me, I think along with Robert Pires, the best winger I've ever seen at Arsenal. That's a whole other debate. Mark Overmars, Arshavin. There were some special wingers. I think Sanchez, along with Robert Pires, is the best winger I have seen play for Arsenal. Some of you may be older, maybe you saw other wingers. Lundberg was very good, Overmars was very good, Arshavin, Nasri. But I think Alexis is right up there with Robert Pires for me. But that's a debate for another day, by the way. Jay Mystery says Overmars. Exceed says Haleb. Haleb was not Alexis Sanchez level. Overmars is definitely an argument you can have. Right, on the performance and the result, he said the view is that the result doesn't affect actually what happened on the pitch. I think it's clear, but there are 2 things on the pitch. Those are the boxers. Oh, here we go. They were much more efficient than us, and that makes the whole difference, because in the moment that they were clearly on top of the game, when we had the chances to get away with the game, we conceded the goal and the game changed. Yeah, the debate started here. People are saying Pepe. I know you're trying to banter. So, Overmars was special, says Faz. I did like Overmars, I have to admit. Willian, listen, that was a nightmare that we never had to deal with in the flesh because we never seen him live and direct playing. So I always say it never happened, Willian. It was a nightmare, and we woke up from it real quick. On if he's disappointed to exit the cup, he said losing is disappointing, but the way the boys tried and played and the amount of changes that we had to make because of the congestion, and we have to protect the players and give them chances. I'm really happy with that. But obviously, we wanted to continue in the competition. Unfortunately, we're out. See, I don't fully like that answer. I get what he's saying. He doesn't want to have a meltdown, so I understand it. My question to Mikel would be, Mikel, right? You've spent nearly £400 million since you've been the Arsenal manager. You're in your 4th season, and I don't want people to think I'm getting on at Mikel here because we've turned a bit of a corner this season, but I'm still not going to cap. I would say, Mikel, you've spent nearly 400 million since you've been Arsenal manager. You've made multiple changes, and so have Brighton, and they've beat you 3-1 in your own ground. Does that worry you that your squad players are not good enough? That would have been my question. I'd probably be escorted out of the room because they wouldn't like that question. But that's the question I'd be asking. How can Brighton's squad players outperform your squad players to that level when their team is worth about 70 million and ours is worth about 250 million? So, but they won't ask that question. I'll be banned. Yeah, permanent timeout settings for me. They'll be escorting me out. People saying Anders Limpar, Jimmy Carter, Perry Groves, Martinez. Them lot a bit before my time, I can't lie. Yeah, he's definitely not answering that. You know, I'm being escorted off the premises for that by 2 security guards. On why Cole Heim was selected over Matt Turner, I think he deserved the chance. He's the first goalkeeper of the national team at his age. He plays for Estonia. I think that's something that is not usual. He totally deserves his chance. And if I had to play again tomorrow, I would play him again because you only get that experience when you've played football matches. Cole has that, and errors are part of the game. Listen, I'm not going to get on to Hein because he's a young player. But yeah, Heinz ketchup, Heinz baked beans. You know what? It looked like he stood on ketchup the way he slipped over as Welbeck was running at him. I can't lie. So I'm not going to write him off, but I'm going to be honest. I'm in no rush to see him in the first team for a while. Maybe wait until pre-season or take him, to Dubai for them games. Yeah, playing as the first team goalkeeper for Estonia, I'm not sure that's something we should be getting wholly excited about. But yeah, man, Heinz sausage and beans, man. Heinz ketchup, Heinz mayonnaise, whatever it was. That Heinz was slipping all over the place. On if the defeat shows we need to strengthen our squad, Mikel, please, come on. I'm backing you here. Just please don't cap. That's the squad that we have, and we have to use and utilise the squad the best possible way. Today we came up short, especially because we didn't do what we have to do in both boxes to win a football match, and we paid the price. I'm gonna be honest, people. He's capping. He hasn't even really answered the question. Man said Heinz ketchup. Oh my days! Listen, Welbeck looked like R9. Oh, well, that's what happens, man. He's capped there. I don't like the answer. Please, somebody press him on that question. He can't get out of that. Hein or Runarsson? I mean, Runarsson had butterfingers. Heinz got ketchup on his feet. So, I don't know which one's worse. One slips over, one lets the ball through his hands. Even if Turner was in goal yesterday, LS, we might have won that game because I don't think he does that. But anyway, he's avoided the question. Please, somebody push him. On whether he will need a deeper squad to maintain momentum. Come on, you've got a second chance here. Don't cap. We know where we are. We know as well the moment that we had certain injuries, that the squad is already very, very short. I like that. Put some pressure on them. We have tried to manage that in the best possible situation, but the same when we win a football match, so no excuses. Okay, a little bit better there. You've got to apply some pressure now, Mikel. I'm sorry. You need to apply some pressure to this board. I haven't got enough. I'm squeezing everything I can out of this team. I got Heinz baked beans in goal slipping over. You know what I mean? Arthur said, blaming Hine when Sambi's missing good chat. Listen, we can't do anything about Sambi. He is where he is. Bambi's is where he's at. Dexter said, Big C, I'm here back from the fracture. Was that fracture or fracture? Is it? I don't know. Was it meant to say fracture? Clinic. I've been discharged. Big up, bro. Hope you're well. Hope you're safe. And take it easy, man. Take it easy. Right, let's hear what else he had to say, man. Please apply some pressure. They're back to Carl Hine, and whether he spoke to him in the dressing room after the game, he said no. So he didn't say anything to him, just ignored him. Everybody was supporting him straight after. We all make mistakes, me the first one, the players all the time because it's part of the game. He needs to carry on. It's about when you make an error, how you react. It's not about the error. This is going to happen in his career, and it happened today. Unfortunately, so he didn't speak to Hine, the young player making his debut, who made a mistake and conceded 3 goals. Any update on Laurie? Hey, big up, man. The community let me know. I didn't know at all. Robbie announced it, I believe, on the live stream that Laurie was in hospital yesterday. I did message him last night. He said that he'd had to have an emergency operation and he had his appendix removed, which I'm sure was very painful. He said he's all right. He'll be in hospital for a few days. He should be out by the weekend. So get well soon, Laurie. Big up yourself, bro. And safe recovery. So thank you for the community letting me know. Obviously, some of you were tuned into AFTV and Robbie announced it, I believe, on the watch along over there. So big up each and every time. On how he goes about building units within the squad, he said it's all kinds of things. Obviously, building a relationship on the pitch and the chemistry and understanding is something really, really important. Every training session and everything we do is related to that. On whether some players are involved in multiple units. I mean, what are we doing here? Units? Are we trying to build a house here or something? I don't know what's going on. On whether some players are involved in multiple. There are players that can fit into different roles and can accommodate different spaces. That's something I think that's very positive. Right, next question. On Fabio Vieira, he said, I think in front of goal he's been a little bit unlucky because the last 2 games he could have scored a few goals. Every new player needs time to adapt and play. Obviously, when he played against Brighton away from home and he was surrounded with players he's been more familiar with, it's a little bit easier. They're at it again. I hate to be the grammar police here, people. I hate to do this. You know, I can't stand it when people do this, but it was Brentford we played away from home. Not Brighton when he played in the Premier League. It was Brentford. Was the guy typing this even? Did he even watch the game? I still haven't got over the Black 5 that he wrote down. That was a classic. But it was Brentford, my friend, not Brighton. It's a little bit easier. We've asked him to play in different positions as well because of the needs we have in the squad. I'm not worried at all. It is what it is, innit? You know, it is what it is. As I said, people, I'm not going to write him off, but I've been concerned about the last few performances. I think what he's trying to say is similar. You know, he played better against Brentford, surrounded by the players that he's been on tour with, that he knows a little bit better. On how Vieira's adjusted in the 6 months and whether he's settled in, he said, well, he's missed a big part before he came. He was injured for 2.5 months. He missed the whole pre-season. I think that period now in the World Cup is going to make him very good. Let's hope so. He's not going to go to the World Cup, obviously, with Portugal. So this little break that we're going to have for 5 weeks will be a great opportunity for him to settle in and get used to the team a little bit more. DJ Aaron, big up Welbs for not celebrating like he did at Old Trafford. Yeah, man, big him up, man, big him up. On the Brazil squad announcement and how Gabriel has handled it, the whole team has been very supportive. I think Gabby had that option in his mind as well and knew it wasn't easy to get selected with the squad that they have. He was obviously hoping for it, but he had accepted the decision in a really good way. Here we go. These are questions that I need to see. Do not wriggle your way out. We need answers. Do not answer this like Boris Johnson, please. I want a straight answer. Just tell us. On whether we will add to our squad in January, at least tell us you're going to try. By the way, thank you very much to everyone for subscribing. We passed 55k yesterday. Really appreciate it. Big up to everybody that tuned in for the dot along. It wasn't easy, but we made it work. So I want to thank all of you for tuning in for that. Can we get 1,000 likes today? And obviously, we'll be doing the Arsenal watch along Saturday. 7:45 kickoff. We'll be live from 7. Wolves against Arsenal with this new Saturday night kickoff time. Boris Teta. On whether we will add to our squad in January, it said it's the same squad as when we win. I've always said from day one that we have a shorter squad because at the end, we left some players. And as well, if everyone is available and everyone can play minutes, we are okay. But at the moment, we have some injuries. We know what it is. It's nothing new. I said it the first day after the window. I mean, I like in the sense that he's saying that we have a shorter squad because we let players go. That's cool. I get that. I totally get that. Again, my question would be, why did you let players go with no replacement? Why? You're saying that the squad is short. Why leave yourself short? Why let players go if no replacements were coming in? Or you might have tried to get replacements in, but you couldn't. Why let Pepe go, get no right winger? Why let Ainsley Maitland-Niles go and get no centre midfielder? Torreira go. I don't get that. I don't understand when a manager does that. You do not leave yourself short. So for me, again, that would have been my next question. But again, you know, they would be escorting me out. Last question. Please answer this because these answers have not been good enough. On if he will have a change. On if he will have a change, our squad in January. Again, that they're writing it crazy. Must have an E in GCSE English, whoever writes this. He said, well, that's a window that is open and I will have to discuss the options that we have, the capacity that we have to make those changes and be in the market for any opportunity. We don't know what is going to happen. All our options are open. So he's kind of answering without answering. It's not the way we want to hear it. And Ben, I hear you. I don't totally agree with what you're saying. He's saying Pepe and Ainsley Maitland-Niles were useless. If I'm being totally honest, I think Pepe and Ainsley are better than players that we had on the pitch yesterday, Ben. Is Ainsley Maitland-Niles better than Sambi Lokonga in centre midfield? For me, he's better. Is Pepe better than Marquinhos, who played right wing? He's better. He's better than Reece Nelson. Now, Pepe cost 72 million, so that shouldn't be the benchmark for him. What I'm saying is, if you're letting players go that you believe are at this level, and you're now using players that are at that level, that doesn't make sense to me. You're not supposed to downgrade your own squad. You're meant to get better than Pepe and Ainsley if that's what your aim is to do. So that would be my argument. I would rather have Pepe and Ainsley playing than Lokonga and Marquinhos, 100%. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is better than Cedric. I mean, Cedric, met him at the petrol station the other week. Cool guy. Why on earth did we give that guy a 3 or 4 year contract? Southampton let his contract expire. We gave him 4 years on 70k. He's bang average. So it is what it is. Anyway, let's carry on. Let's move on, look ahead, all of that good stuff, people. Let's talk transfers. When are we ever going to do a squad without talking transfers? Just for people tuning in, obviously the England squad was announced earlier, and Ben White, Aaron Ramsdale and Bukayo Saka have all made the World Cup squad. So congratulations to them. Great news for them and well-deserved, all three of them. All three of them guys have been excellent this season. A couple of other bits. Belgium have announced their squad this morning. You won't be surprised to know Sambi Lokonga is nowhere near that squad. Listen, commiserations, chin up. I hope you can turn your form around. But I'm not surprised that they haven't picked him, unfortunately. Austin Trusty, who's apparently been having a fantastic season for Birmingham City, was actually named their player of the month. He has missed out on the World Cup with the American national team. They've picked their 26-man squad. Austin Trusty the process. He's been left out of the American squad, but Matt Turner, he has made it into the America squad. So congratulations to him, and congrats to William Saliba, who has found his way into the French squad. And all I can say, people, is you better sort that contract out quick. I'm telling you now, if he goes Qatar and starts doing his thing, going to be problems. Real Madrid, Barca, PSG, they'll be all over him. So, yeah, it is what it is. Big up Saliba. And Xhaka, of course, made the Swiss squad. Tomiyasu has made the Japan squad despite fears over his fitness. So I just wanted to do this quickly, by the way. Just wanted to have a look at this before we move on to transfers. Is how many of the Arsenal squad is actually going to the World Cup? So I'm just quickly going to skip through the squad here and just have a little count of how many are actually going to the World Cup. And obviously, if they go to Dubai, I'm trying to figure out, how many players are going to be on tour if anybody wants to go over there. Josh, I totally agree. Big up Curtis. It's like the missus saying the sofa isn't good, so I got rid of it. We'll sit on the floor for months and see if we can pick something up. It's true. When your sofas mash up, you line up the replacement, you go, right, that's getting delivered on Tuesday. So on Tuesday morning, I'm going to get somebody to come and collect my old sofa. That one goes out, that one comes in, bam. The upgrade is there, people. Yeah, when they, you get it all sorted. Arsenal, they'll sell their sofa. And they're sitting down on the floor with their legs crossed like they're in school. It don't make no sense. Getting rid of players with no replacements. It's mad. In terms of the goalkeepers, so Ramsdale and Turner, they're going. Hine isn't going. Estonia obviously didn't qualify. So we're at 2 there who are there. Tierney didn't make it. Ben White's going, so that's 3. Gabriel didn't make it. Saliba's going, that's 4. Holding hasn't made it. No, that's not a shock. Cedric, he's not going anywhere near there. Tomiyasu has made it, that's 5. Zinchenko didn't qualify. Thomas Partey's going, that's 6. Sakos, 7. Odegaard didn't qualify. Smith Rowe injured. Fabio Vieira's not going. Lokonga's not going. El Neni didn't qualify. Xhaka's going, that's 8. Jesus is going, 9. Martinelli going, 10. And Ketia, from what I hear, has rejected the call-up for Ghana. He thinks he's going to get picked for England at some stage. So, yeah, good luck with that one. Reece Nelson and Marquinhos, they're not going. Loan players, any of the loan players? Pepe will go. I don't know if Iceland have qualified. I'm not sure. Alex Renarson. Tavares won't go. And Balogun won't go. So I think that's 11 players, including Pepe, who are going to the World Cup. So we got a lot of players there. And a lot of important players. 11 players. It's most of us starting 11, actually, when we start when we're at full strength. You're looking at Ramsdale's going, but I don't think Ramsdale will be first choice. I'm going to be honest. I think Pickford will play ahead of him. Not that I think Pickford's better. I just think Southgate will stick with somebody that he knows. Oh, Ivory Coast didn't make it. Oh, totally wrong then. So he didn't. I thought they made it. That's crazy. All right, Pepe's not going either. So we're looking at Ramsdale, but I don't think he'll play. Pickford will play, in my opinion. Ben White, but I don't think Ben White will play either. Because at right back, he's going to go with Trent or Trippier or Kyle Walker. At centre-back, I still think, listen, it's Gareth Southgate. He'll play John Stones, who I rate, and then he'll play Maguire or someone like that. I don't think Ben White will start for England. Saliba, will Saliba start for France? Deschamps, he'll play for Varane and then one other. I'm not sure. I'd like him to play. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes with Kimpembe. He loves experience. So those guys might not play. Xhaka will start. Thomas Partey will start. Thomas Partey is the biggest worry for every Arsenal fan in this World Cup tournament. But Ghana are in a tough group. They could be out by the group stage. I'm not even capping. Saka, I think, will start for England on the right. Xhaka, like we said, will start. Gabriel Jesus, I don't think he'll start for Brazil, if I'm being honest. Saliba might start next to Varane. I hope for his sake he does, but it wouldn't surprise me if he just goes with Kimpembe. He loves that guy. I don't think Jesus will start for Brazil. I actually think they'll play Richarlison up front. If you look at his goal record in recent games for Brazil, he's been on fire for them. Probably, or they might play Neymar false 9. So I don't think Jesus starts. Martinelli won't start. So the only good thing, a lot of our players that are there won't start. I suppose the bad thing is is that Jesus Martinelli playing for Brazil, they're going to be at the tournament till close to the end, I think, because I think Brazil will go far. Saka with England, how long will they be there? Ben White and Ramsdale. Partey, I think they could go out in the groups, if I'm being honest. They're in a tough group. So we'll have to see. We've got about 10 players there. I only think 3 or 4 of them are actually going to be starting. Keith, I'm with you. I don't rate Kimpembe at all. I think he's clumsy. He's an average centre-back. But people saying he could go over back 3. Could be Saliba, Varane and Kimpembe. It would be interesting. And Xhaka, of course, will start for Switzerland. I'm not sure if he's their captain. Portugal and Uruguay are in Ghana's squad. Partey will be back quickly. I don't think they'll get out of that group. I think Portugal and Uruguay are stronger than Ghana. But we'll have to see. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk transfers and familiar names. I'm going to apologise in advance, people. You're about to see names that we've seen time and time again. But Fabrizio Romano has put out an interview and he's talking about this man again. Daily Yuri, people. Daily Yuri Tielemans is back again and in full effect. If there's one silver lining for losing that game last night, it has to be a wake-up call to everyone within this football club that we have to sign players in January, because this season can derail if you don't do what's necessary in January. I've said time and time again, and I'll keep banging this drum, people. Sign Yuri Tielemans, sign Wilfried Zaha in January. Some people disagree. They think there's better options. Both have 6 months. Both of them are not going to sign new deals. Both Premier League ready. Come straight into the squad and improve us. I think you get them both for about 40, 45 million, which would be a bargain. Now, Eddie Nketiah said, why am I not in the squad? I've been robbed. Big up Edward, Eddie Nketiah. Got a few quotes here from Fabrizio Romano talking about Yuri Tielemans. He said, from what I've heard inside Leicester, there is no chance that Yuri Tielemans will renew his contract at Leicester. And people within the club already know this. He said, from what I believe, Arsenal were banking on signing Yuri Tielemans in the summer on a free transfer. He says, but I believe Leicester will actively try to sell him in January as they do not want a prized asset to walk out of the door for free. This may bring Arsenal to the table in January for a small transfer fee to bring Tielemans to Arsenal. He said the one issue Arsenal may have is that it seemed as if they wanted a number 6. This is where the interest in Douglas Luiz and Danilo has come from. I'm not sure whether a creative midfielder is the priority in January. What are your thoughts on what Fabrizio Romano is saying there? Do you think we need a 6 more than a number 8, which is seemingly what midfielder we were looking for? However, at the time, Thomas Partey was injured, El Neni was injured. There was probably a desperation for a 6. Would you more go for a defensive-minded player, or would you be happy with Yuri Tielemans? I think he would be a great signing in January. I don't see why they haven't done it. If they're sitting there thinking, let's not buy him in January because we get him for free in the summer, for me, that's a stupid way of looking at it, because getting 2 players in now of quality could change the whole direction of our season, you know. Why take the risk? If you can get Yuri Tielemans, they're saying about £18 million for him. It's an absolute no-brainer. And I've said many times, people, I don't actually think that Yuri Tielemans is an amazing footballer. I actually don't. I think he lacks mobility, but one thing he is quality on the ball. You've seen the goals he scored in the last few weeks. And his ability to pick out a pass. I don't think there's a player in Arsenal's central midfield area that has necessarily got a better passing range than him. So we'll have to see. But for £18 million, you know, people saying Fabio Vieira, 35 million is decent value. £18 million for Yuri Tielemans, 25 years of age, who, by the way, is in the Belgium squad for the World Cup. Absolute no-brainer. As I've said before, a lot of people talking about Danilo from Brazil. For me, it's the wrong time to sign him. Or if you're signing him, sign him and Tielemans. Because I don't think we're in a situation where we need to sign an experiment, a player that might take 6 months to get used to this squad, to get used to the league. Don't get me wrong, that Danilo could come here, hit the ground running and be unbelievable. But for me, I want somebody that I feel like from day one you can adjust to this team. We've got Sambi Lokonga and El Neni as backup midfielders. Tielemans 10 times better than both of them put together. He would actually put pressure probably on Xhaka to get into the team. So for me, if we're talking about £18 million for Yuri Tielemans, I'm sorry, Arsenal, pay the money. Don't worry about getting him for free in the summer. Get him now. Sign players from a position of power. January sales business. Yuri Tielemans, get the deal done. I'm all over this deal, and I would be delighted if we sign him for £18 million. When's the last time, though, you came out of a January window and went, that's a really good signing by Arsenal. That's a really smart signing. Doesn't happen often. January is a bit of a bad window for Arsenal. So, John Bamford, I don't think Arteta and Edu are smart in the market. I don't think they'll make the right signings in January. They'll make signings, but their signings won't improve this season. Danilo is the easy option, says Cliffo, because of Brazil. That's what we'll see, yeah. He needs to prove that, you're not just pulling out your Brazilian phone book every time, Edu. He needs to go and sign somebody else for me. Hendon Guna said we need to sign proven quality players. At this stage, we can't sign another prospect. Swap Nketiah plus 30 million for Tony and get Tielemans in. Listen, I'd love them deals. I really would. Haroon said plus Yuri speaks French as well. Would slot in yet from his time at Monaco. No Daily Zaha today. Well, you thought there was no Daily Zaha today. But here's something I made earlier, people. Fresh out of the oven. Rio Ferdinand speaking on his 5 podcast with Joel Bayer, who, of course, is a big Arsenal fan, good friend of mine. Speaking yesterday on his weekly podcast, he was asked about Wilfried Zaha's future. Hey, Nimbo, don't you worry, man. There was always something lurking in the background. On Wilfried Zaha, Rio Ferdinand says he would be good at Arsenal. I think at Arsenal, he'd be a good challenge to Saka and Martinelli that are there and a good option. They should have bought him when they bought Pepe. I totally agree with you, Rio. I totally agree. Trust me, I will keep banging this drum until he ends up at the carpet, people. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Tielemans, Zaha, no more than 50 million for both of them. You get them 2 in January and we are a problem. I'm telling you now, we're a problem. You get them 2 in. Danilo and all these, man, I've never played in this country. I don't speak the language. It's going to take me a year to get used to it. Nah, man, we ain't got time for that, people. We got no time for that. I'm ready. We need players that can come in now and handle business. So, listen, for me, those are the 2 for me. Get them done. Bring them to the carpet. Rio Ferdinand says it, and I agree with him. As you know, people, I agree with him. And thirdly, I think it's only right that we finish off with the car park Mudryk. It's only right. Let's talk about the car park Mudryk. Third and finally, Adam said, bro, Zaha can twist up defenders, link the play, score goals, win penalties, get him in. Arsenal speak Portuguese, yeah, I don't think he does. Zaha, Tielemans and Trossard in January, I would be delighted with them. Aubameyang, Curtis, you're fired. Zaha, want a job? Yeah, I'm ready, man. Clement said Rio is 100% spot on. We should have got Zaha instead of Pepe. Listen, I've said it before. We wanted Zaha instead of Pepe, but they wanted the Klarna, the layaway business. They wanted to pay, half now and all that foolishness. They didn't want to get the deal done. Let's talk about Car Park Mudryk before we get out of here. This one's short and sweet. These are the names that we're talking about at the moment. Mudryk's international teammate, Zinchenko, has given a glowing reference of the 21-year-old to the Arsenal bosses. How much weight does that really hold? I don't know, people. Man saying he's in the Waitrose car park now. Big up Gunnar Graham. I think he started in Audi. Then he got to Asda. That was his promotion. Now he's in the Waitrose car park. The Orangers. that you get at half time, the orange juice and the Jaffa cakes, they're all top quality. You know, before he was getting like Aldi's own orange that's got no flavour. So he's upgraded now. He's a Waitrose Mudryk now. I mean, is that even a story? Zinchenko's put a good word in for him. All right, cool. I don't know if that makes any difference, but it's a glowing reference. Maybe it was a glow-in-the-dark reference from Zinchenko. But listen, these things do happen. You know, have a word with him. See if he's up for it. I'm sure he'll be having a conversation. I think Zinchenko is Ukraine captain as well. So his word probably holds a little bit of weight. Man said Mudryk's been promoted to the trolleys. Man's putting the trolleys away at the end of the day. So listen, that story doesn't really mean much, but it is what it is. Zinchenko rates him, and we'll see. I've said all along, I don't think Arsenal will sign Mudryk in January because the price that they want for him is very high, and Arsenal would have to be seriously convinced by him to go and spend that kind of money. I'm not even sure Arsenal can spend that much money on one player in January because of financial fair play. £51 million they want for him. Is he worth 51 million? I don't know if I've seen enough. I'm going to admit, when I watch him on YouTube, when I watch the Champions League highlights, I'm like, yo, that brother's rapid. Get him to the carpet. But I remember watching Pepe's highlights before we signed him. I said, get him to the carpet. And look what he did to the carpet. You know, he didn't exactly, caress the carpet with his quality, you know. He left stains on it. Walked on the carpet with his trainers and got it all dirty, you know. Let's pay in crypto. I mean, have you seen what's happening to the crypto market? It's crazy. Maddison over Mudryk. Different players, different positions, though. I know Maddison can play out wide. Listen, I'd love to sign Maddison, but him going to the World Cup and all that, the price is going to go up. Sonogo did look decent on YouTube. I remember seeing him scoring volleys, lobbing the goalkeeper. Comes to the carpet. I found out he was a French postman. Jake Snacks almost spit my coffee out when Curtis said 51 mil. I'm telling you, man, 51 mil on Mudryk, but you can probably get Trossard for 30. You can probably get Zaha for 25. I just want some proven players. I want people that aren't going to need time to adjust. That is for sure. People, short and sweet today, hour and 2 minutes. We are out of here. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support on the watch along yesterday, or the dot along, should I say. And big up to everyone getting us over 55k subscribers. So tomorrow, Friday, we'll be back. We'll do press conference reaction with Mikel Arteta. We'll look ahead to the Wolves game, select our team, see what he has to say. This is the final game before the World Cup, so it's a must-win game. If we win this game, we go to the World Cup top of the Premier League. Next week, we'll be doing transfer videos, collabs, and looking ahead to the World Cup. Thank you very much for tuning in today, people. Enjoy your Thursday. And it's not the end of the world that we're out of the Carabao Cup. We have to focus on the bigger competition. So enjoy your Thursday, and I will see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.